Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to what is round 6 of the CCRL Elite Tier. Well, I suppose Wednesday tier now. Elite Tier here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was a very wet to dry qualifying session, and it appears we'll be starting with the intermediates here. But let's go on and run you over your starting grid then for today's Grand Prix. It'll be Reimer in the Mercedes starting on pole, 108.227. About 2.5 tenths to his outside. On the front row is Big Man Rai in the Sauber. His teammate of King Pro player starting in third, clean half a second behind. Starting fourth is going to be Charlie Golf in the McLaren, 7.5 tenths. DJE Flat about 9 tenths behind in fifth. DWCJ sixth, Curveball seventh. Matter of fact, only ahead of R. Manson in eighth by 2/1000ths of a second. It'll be John the Prince 9th, Jabor 10th, 11th will be Pontiac Bandit, 12th is Late Bloomer, 13th Hemphead, 14th Bonga, row 7 lockout for the Ferraris. 15th is Owa, 16th Johnny Damon, 17th is Merck, 18th is Onyote. He was the last of the drivers to actually get a time to 10th in, and then rounding out the grid, P19 without a time, is that of TMM Racing in the Haas. Now, once again, it was a very wet to dry qualifying session. A lot of cars, I'm assuming, did not get clean laps in on the dry tires. But Sao Paulo, it's a fantastic track. Anytime you race or watch a race at this track, you get an overwhelming feeling that something is going to happen. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is a stipulation of the situation. You have to attack this track with dedication or face elimination, because let me tell you something, it is not easy by any means. This track will chew you up, spit you out, and ask for seconds, really. And not to mention the weather in play as we see now. I haven't gotten any word if this one is going to be full in the intermediates or we are going to get some dry running. I'm assuming we may get some dry running, which would be fantastic. It's interesting because usually, I remember everybody used to really hope and pray for the wet racing, but I think the racing's actually gotten much better in the dry. Let's take you through the driver and constructor standings after last time out in Portugal. Reimer atop the table by 48 points over his teammate, a King Pro player in second, DWCJ third, Charlie Golf fourth, Merck in fifth, Curveball sixth, R. Manson seventh, Owa eighth, Sepulveda ninth, and John the Prince rounding out the top 10 as far as the constructors are concerned. It is out of the Mercedes atop the table, 116 points for the Alpines in second, McLaren third, the V-Carbs fourth, Red Bull fifth, sixth is Aston Martin, seventh is the Willys, eighth is the Saubers, ninth is the Ferrari, and 10th are the Haas. And hey, by the way, definitely be sure to check out the next couple of rounds here. We do head to Monaco next time out for what should be a fantastic edition of the Grand Prix. Monaco is always fun. Even if there's not a lot of on-track action, there's still drama to be had. And then for October 23rd, we head to Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Sprint Grand Prix. Here in the Elite Tier, Wednesday tier, and then rounding out the final of the next three. October 30th, the night before Halloween, we head to the Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan for what should be a fantastic outing. We're just waiting now for us to get ready to go. 1 minute, and that was about a minute ago. So we are moments away from the beginning of this sixth round of the Elite Wednesday tier. Hoping for a good one here. This rain is going to prove very difficult into that first braking zone, and I think realistically off the start here, it's just genuinely going to be able who keeps it clean and who makes the least amount of mistakes, because they're not going to have DRS to be able to cover their butt per se. They're really just going to have to get away well and stay with it. I'm expecting Reimer to get away well here off the line. Potentially starts are not necessarily what he's known for, but that is not necessarily a derogatory thing to say about him. Just not a strong suit. Some drivers are really good at starts, some aren't. Reimer's pretty much in the middle. You can count on him having a halfway decent one, though, and at least being competent on the getaway, let's say about that. Big Man Rai, I have never seen race before. This is my first time commentating a race with him behind the wheel. Maybe he was there last week. I must have missed it, but either way. Looking to see what he will do on the other side of that front row. It's going to be a massive drag race into that first corner. It's not a huge run into this first corner here, but the lights are turning on 4, eventually 5, and for the 6th time this season, the Elite Tier is underway in Sao Paulo. Reimer gets a halfway decent start, but Big Man Rai, I think, has actually gotten a better one. Yes, he has. Immediately down to the inside. He has cleared the Mercedes by the time they get down the hill through the Senna S's and out through Curva do Sol. It is not Hemphead in the lead. Big Man Rai does lead them down. Reta Oposta now, something like I don't have the track map up with me in a minute. In towards now corner number 4. We have a yellow flag in the back. It's the Ferrari of Bong, I believe, has gone around. Just a small spin for him. Big man Rye does lead the grid, however, making their way up the hill through turns 5, 6, and 7. It appears Charlie Gulf behind, a little bit wiggly going off the top of the hill. DWCJ 0.4 of a second behind. He's quite close, trying his best. He's just not really there for the time being. I should have had this track map open. I was a bit silly. Anyways, we do have Late Bloomer and Johnny Damon battling it out behind, going in towards what I believe is the Ducks Peak corner. Yes, it is. Bico de Pato, turn 10. In towards Jun Shao, turn 11. And for the time being, it's going to be slightly calm here. Hemphead, his interval's not working. Big Man Ride does have the lead for the time being, and the fastest lap, 1:21.125. The rain's still falling, albeit very lightly. Late Bloomer appears to have head for the pit lane here. Well, no, I'm actually wrong about that. The Ferrari of Hemphead is actually head for the pit lane. Late Bloomer has been overtaken by several cars, at least for the time being. Exiting Curva del Sol and down, heading in towards, where's the list of the names? I had it somewhere. Dolago, and then up the hill, heading for turn number 6 of Ferradura. Or Ferradura. I don't freaking know, man. I'm an American. I can't speak foreign language. I try my best, though. Up the hill through turn 6. TMM Racing has retired, I believe. Is that out on track? It certainly seems so. Yep, that car is going to be slowing to a stop, exiting turn number 5. Now, it's probably a no-no in this league, especially if it does yield a safety car here. But Big Man Ride does lead Reimer by about a second and a quarter here. Charlie Golf trying to look in behind and maybe pressure the Mercedes here in the not so distant future here. 2.5 of a second. DJ E Flat trying to reel in King Pro Player again. No DRS is available. Race strategy lap 18 to 29 for that set of intermediate tires. And by the way, it is raining out, so there is actually no requirement that you need to make a stop here. That is a big kind of thing to keep in mind, considering if the rain does keep falling, you can theoretically take these intermediates the full way. I don't believe they will be very comfortable into the last 10 laps or so of the race, but at least I think they probably could still exist relatively good enough. Going through. Now it appears we do have 5.5 of a second between DWCJ, King Pro Player, DJ E Flat. Manson kind of actually under pressure here from Curveball. 0.4 of a second, making their way through turn 11 in towards Jun Shao. Jabor's going to get side by side here with Johnny Damon. Around the outside is the Sauber. Difficult part of the track, this to even drive through. Never mind go side by side. That car naturally wants to push to the outside. And somehow they've actually kept it very respectful and gentlemanly there. Johnny Damon does dispatch to the Williams for the time being. Big Man Rye, 1:16.526. So it's interesting because the rain is still falling. The times are getting quicker, though. Merck getting around Late Bloomer, that being for the 13th position. Still about 2.25 of a second between Jabor and Johnny Damon. We'll check back with that in a minute. Charlie Golf, 2.5 of a second from Reimer. King Pro Player to the inside of DWCJ, heading in towards Dolago. And for the time being, the Mercedes is right there. The Alpine may have better acceleration around the outside. Oh, well, King Pro Player's nearly lost it there. The entry, the apex curve there on the left side, very wet and slippery, I would assume. King Pro Player has nearly found that out the hard way. That car went for quite the slide going over the curb. He has kept it together and still on good pace, but still, that was quite risky then. Big Man Rye still 2 seconds back over Reimer. Reimer's actually put a little bit more time back to Charlie Golf, and I'm thinking maybe is Charlie Golf struggling a little bit. It's tough to kind of think and know if somebody's struggling at this point in the Grand Prix. Of course, we've only just started. Down the pit straight they go. It's 0.3 of a second, 3.5 between DJ Flat and DWCJ here, heading into the Senna S's. going to assume, at least for the time being, we're not going to find an immediate move heading into the corner. It could happen, but you really don't want to risk too much here. DJE flat within the slipstream is, again, not really going to get close enough, at least for the time being. This one might be one to look out for here. Johnny Damon, half a second ahead of Pontiac Bandit, who's about half a second ahead of Jabor, who's maybe got to start thinking defensively here against Merck, only 0.2 of a second behind. DRS is enabled. That is huge. That tells me this is drying up here relatively quickly. That is the game saying the track is officially dry. Maybe will we start to see cars come in and fit soft tires, maybe even the hards, and try to go as long as they can. It's a valid thing to think about here. I don't think the track is quite perfect enough yet to comfortably switch over. We'll have to wait and see what Big Man Ride does here. That rain definitely getting less and less. I think it is still maybe a little too greasy out for the time being for the soft tires. Reimer has now got the fastest lap, 1:16. We do have a yellow flag in the back. Pontiac Bandit's gone round, and appears that, at least for the time being, he's kept it okay. He doesn't appear to be missing any front wing. That's a good sign. He is losing position, though, as Jabor into the pit lane. 2-second advantage for Big Man Rye over Reimer. Charlie Golf has fallen behind about 7 additional tenths of a second back to Reimer in the second spot. King Pro Player, bit spread out as well. DJE flat, well, nearly got collected in a slide there for DWCJ, exiting Dolago, and now trying to go up the hill. DJE flat tried his best to kind of find somewhat of a way to maneuver about. Oh, DWCJ, man, he is struggling with that car right now. Every time he's gotten on throttle in the recent corners, that car has absolutely wanted to jut to the side. He's held it together. Good car control, but goodness me, that is, well, that's about as much of a handful as it could possibly be. I think the question is now, do we begin to see... Oh, that's... I tell you what, DJE Flat's got to be careful here, because if DWCJ is struggling that much with his car, you don't want to be around somebody struggling that much for that long. Big Man Rye's got a 10er for speeding into the pit lane. That is so unfortunate there. Reimer has stayed out an additional lap. Big Man Rye, we're going to assume onto the hards here. And yes, that will be the tire of choice for the Sauber. But now he's got a 10er to his name. That does not help him, obviously. But still. That is a hugely unfortunate turn of events there. John the Prince, well, I mean, we've got pretty much everybody stopping here, only a couple of which have not quite yet, that being the top 4. By the way, we've got 3 different compounds of tires still out on track, medium, hard, and intermediate. But the top 4 still have yet to stop, and so is Anyote. I believe we're going to absolutely see the top 4 pit this time. It'd be slightly stupid to wait any longer, of course. Reimer's main rival for the time being of Big Man Rye has now got that 10-second penalty to his name. He's not really... I'm not going to say doesn't have to worry about him, but still, it's a real shame there. Reimer's actually stayed out an additional lap now. Obviously, in real life, you could get away with doing that as DJE Flat picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. In real life, you know, those intermediate tires are just basically a softer soft. You know, that's why we see, when we have intermediate running in real life at least, we'll see drivers take those green striped tires as long as they possibly can, because really, once that tread gets worn off, those just basically warp into a very good soft tire. Most likely not the case of what happens in the game, but, you know, I'm interested at least. Maybe that's something. That's one of the things I think this game really lacks, is kind of those little, not innuendos, but kind of those little tidbits that are absolutely true and mean things in real life. You don't really get those in this game. Jabor, I believe, has also just picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. About to begin the 9th lap of the Grand Prix. Big Man Rye will at least take the lead back out on track, although does have a 10-second penalty to his name. He'll be followed by Charlie Golf by 6 seconds. King Pro Player 1.7 after that. Hemp Head is now up to 13 seconds in penalties. Pontiac Bandit and Late Bloomer. Oh, lots of contact there between the two. Oh, I don't know what happened there. They were side by side exiting Dolago turn 5. And, well, we saw the virtual hand of displeasure there had been thrown up by Pontiac Bandit's, I guess, fake driver, but still, either way. Yeah, something has not quite happened there. King Pro player now, 1:10.521, current fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Interesting to see where Reimer's going to come out on track here. He's probably going to be met up with the Williams of DJE Flat, I think is going to be his... I was going to say that, but that's actually not true. He's joined in amongst his teammate here of King Pro player, potentially trying to battle up for the third position. I think Reimer may have just stayed out a little too long. Of course, King Pro player on the medium tires, as well as Charlie Golf, DJE Flat, Curveball. Actually, I'll do it the other way around. There's only 5 cars on track currently residing on the hard tires. Big Man Rye, Reimer, DWCJ, R. Manson, and Jabor. All of the rest have taken the mediums. That's a little surprising to me. I'm not too sure. I'm assuming those guys who have taken the hards are comfortable enough to believe that those tires will last to the end of the Grand Prix, barring a safety car. I think those in the mediums are maybe expecting a second stop, and they're going to use that advantage while they can. I tell you what, a safety car for those guys on the mediums would prove huge for them. If not, then those guys in the hards may get away with it strategy-wise and really kind of take control of this Grand Prix. I think that's kind of the only thing I would worry about. But if you're a guy like Reimer, Big Man Rye, you are not really concerned or planning on stopping again. Doesn't look right. Huh. Here comes DWCJ up to the right side. He'll get around curveball. Oh, that might be the safety car. Jabor has retired. Oh, it's in the pit lane. Sorry. I didn't mean to be anticlimactic there, but you see a car, you just get done talking about a safety car and you see one retire, you kind of think the worst. Well, unfortunately, that will do it for Jabor's day here, and he's left the session. Unfortunate for him. He's down 7 positions. Into the corner. Oh, late bloomer's gotten right into the back end of Bong, and on the way into the braking zone at Dolago. You can see him a big lockup and got into him there. I'm assuming, well, he doesn't appear to be missing any wing. Oh, he is. Yes, he is. The left side of his front wing is shed the end plate. Potentially was that from that contact. I'm not too sure. But either way, it's now the second car in the recent laps that late bloomer is tangled with here. So here's an interesting note for you. Big Man Rye does currently have a 10-second penalty. He does have 7.3 seconds back to Charlie Golf, who does have in himself a 3-second penalty. For the time being, obviously should this result hold, and it's probably not going to because King Pro player is up next. If this result were to hold, Big Man Rye would still take the win. But heading through turns 8 and in towards turns 9 and eventually 10 after that. Half a second here between King Pro player and Charlie Golf. Probably not going to see a move be made there until DRS is activated, going down out of the final couple of corners and down the pit straight. Do have 0.3 of a second here between Late Bloomer and Pontiac Bandit. Those two tangled not too long ago. Potentially more fireworks on the way, but for the time being, King Pro player has a hell of a run here on Charlie Golf. To the inside he goes, and he'll dispatch the McLaren relatively easily. Nicely done, King Pro player. Now up to second. As far as positions gained and lost, top 3 cars all +1. We have a yellow flag at the back somewhere. It's a Ferrari. I think it's Bong It. Something's gone wrong there, not too sure. Top 3 cars all up a position. Reimer down 3, of course. We do still think that decision to pit as late as he did was a mistake. 8 positions gained for Johnny Damon. That's huge. Merck up 6 as well. Agnote up 3. Everybody else is down at least 1 or 2 spots, minus that of Reimer, who have we said down 3, and Hemphead, who's down 4. And Hemphead now an additional 3-second penalty to his name. He's up to 6. We'll keep it on the penalty tracker for the time being. Big Man Rye, as we said, 10-second penalty for speeding to the pit lane. In fact, all the tenors that you do see are because of that. DJE Flat's got a tenor as well for that same thing. 3-second penalties for Charlie Golf, Bong It, Late Bloomer, and Owa. Curveball's within a couple of tenths of a second here of DWCJ. I don't necessarily believe Curveball's going to be able to get to him this time, although on the medium tires and still about pathway on his energy store, may be able to have a look exiting Curva del Sol and in towards Descida do Lago. Maybe we'll bong and have a look at Pontiac Bandit here exiting Junshao. Eight-tenths of a second heading down towards the pit straight they go, and Bongan is actually being gapped by Pontiac Bandit here. I think DRS now in play for the Ferrari. Might be able to outbrake him here into the corner. Nah, he just started that run just a little bit too late. Oh, he's gone way late on the brakes, so that may open the door for Late Bloomer, who has tried to stick the nose in there. Couldn't quite get the opportunity to get it done, but maybe now exiting Curva del Sol, down heading towards Del Lago coming up. Let's see if Late Bloomer will be able to make a charge here on Bonget. Bonget's going to choose the outside. He's now gone over track limits, and that'll be 6 seconds in penalty in total for Bonget after that. 3/10 of a second here between Bonget and Bloomer. Bonget and Pontiac. Only a tenth between Bloomer and Bonget here going in towards turns 8, 9, and eventually 10 after that. And this is one of the closest battle, if not the closest battle, on track currently. Of course, that last round of pit stops kind of screwed things up, but either way, DJ Flat, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He'll go up to 13 seconds. Once again, a look at the tires. Only 4 cars in the grid currently residing on the hards. Big Man Rye, Reimer, DWCJ, and R. Manson all on the hard tires. Everybody else is on the mediums. Do we think the mediums can last to the end of the Grand Prix? It's a bit of a stretch. Pontiac Bandit being overtaken by Bung there around to the outside. Now up to 12th is the Ferrari. But anyway, do we think that the mediums can go all the way to the end of the Grand Prix? Maybe. Probably not. I'd bet my money on no. The hards will definitely go. Will they be comfortable? Most likely not. I think even then, if you probably stop, it's probably going to be better off than the hards towards the end of the Grand Prix. I mean, we're not even halfway through yet, and these guys pit for these tires only about 7-8 laps ago. It's a really interesting choice to kind of think of here. And I think maybe is that why Reimer took as long as he did and stayed out. You know, he was one of the last cars to transition from intermediates to the slicks here. I'm thinking maybe was that what he was looking out for, you know? Take as much time as you can on the intermediates, build up enough towards the back end of the Grand Prix where the hards will still be halfway decent. He's going to get around Charlie Golf here now for the 3rd spot. We'll go a little bit wide out of the corner. I'm assuming he definitely has picked up a warning there, probably on 1 or 2. Four-tenths of a second, John the Prince back to Merck. You know what's interesting is that if you're a driver, let's say Reimer just picked up his 2nd time penalty there, his 2nd track limits warning. Let's say you just picked up your 2nd warning. You're going to be so focused now on actually not picking up that penalty that it's going to hurt you. You're almost better off getting that 3rd warning, picking up the time penalty, and still being able to turn quick laps rather than, you know, having to adjust your line and heavily compromise to be able to stay within and avoid the penalty. It's a very weird thing to think about, especially in the light I've just painted it in, but that might be a real thing. And speaking of that, King Pro Players just picked up a 3-second from corner cutting. I believe maybe did he have to take through the escape road going through the Senna S's. Either way, it's not gone well. Charlie Golf, will he be able to have a look at Reimer here heading in towards Del Lago? He's not quite going to be close enough, no. In action as well, Pontiac Bandit 0.6 of a second behind the Bung, and as they're making their way, moving fast, heading in towards Senna S's. 0.6 of a second. Yeah, Pontiac's just not really going to be close enough here. I would assume that the V-Carb either saving up his battery or maybe just hasn't gotten the chance quite yet. He's about 50%. We'll open the... I don't usually like to have telemetry on the screen like this. I think it just kind of clogs the screen up, to tell you the truth. But 50% battery for Charlie Golf. Reimer a little bit lower, maybe using it slightly more. Well, he's got the hot lap setting on, so that tells me using it maybe defensively here. He's almost got a second back to Charlie Golf. It's a very important gap to have, because if Reimer gets that Mercedes outside of a second on Charlie Golf, that is huge. Into the corner now, and it looks as if Reimer's going to stay ahead for the time being. Charlie Golf might get a halfway decent exit here out of Curva del Sol. Okay, it's not really going to be close enough to make something happen there. 0.6 of a second the gap. We do have Pontiac Bandit back to Bong. Hemphead has picked up another 3-second penalty. He's up to 9. Pontiac Bandit, he's going to absolutely have the opportunity this time. He's used all of his battery to the inside. Johnny Damon is retired, on track. Pontiac Bandit, I think, only just got that position before the safety car had come out. The game doesn't appear to be telling him to give the spot back. Manson has picked up a 10er for a severe collision with, I believe, was that... whoever the hell it was has just picked up a 10er for a severe collision. I'm not too sure what's happened. Johnny Damon, that car went round. I kind of think over more by Jun Chao, which is a weird place to have gone off. Just have to think and try to see where that's actually happened. That's a very puzzling spot of the track to try to go off, but this is now allowing... Oh, that's interesting now. Well, big developments here. Reimer stays out on his hard tires. Big Man Rye serves his 10-second penalty now on the mediums. And I'm assuming, well, obviously they won't have the choice. Manson stays out. DJ E Flat serving his 10er. That looks like, actually it might be softs. And yeah, those are soft tires going on to the Williams. 10-second penalty serve. We are now halfway through this Grand Prix. Still don't really know where Johnny Damon's gone off. I think if it was a Jun Chao, that's a really weird place to have gone off. We do have 4 cars currently on the softs. King Pro Player, Charlie Golf, DJ E Flat, and Merck have all stopped for the soft red rubber here. Reimer, DWCJ, Curveball have stayed out. Curveball, 11-lap-old medium tires. Reimer and DW, 9 and 10-lap-old hards. Big Man Ride, big story here. 4th place. Now no longer has a penalty. He has served it. And now on fresh medium tires. Reimer, I think, may have made a mistake here by not coming in. Even if he did come in here, you know, maybe he was worried more about track position, but I mean, even if he did go in, at least he'd be even Stevens on tires with Big Man Rye, because now you would argue the Sauber's actually at the advantage, considering now he doesn't have the penalty, and he's got fresher tires. Yeah, that is a big, I think, missed opportunity there for our championship leader. That is a really odd thing to think about there. R. Manson's going to head into the pit lane here, probably going to serve his 10er, and probably fresh mediums for him as well. I don't know, that is just such a bold decision there. Reimer's he either knows something we don't, or he is playing three-dimensional chess here, because every way I spin that looks like a mistake to me. Uh-oh, what? DJ E Flat is retired. That is on track. Hemphead has a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with DJ E Flat exiting Dolago. What in the hell has happened there? You can see front wing everywhere. What calamity behind the safety car. Both Willies are down. Well, I'm suddenly going to be doing Discord investigative work, because that is a massive turn of events. Johnny Damon saying he's got a little too much throttle off of turn 4. That was out of Curva del Sol. A little too much throttle, and I guess he's done it himself. Unfortunate for Johnny Damon, who to that point was having a respectable day. I think he was running P7, P8, not bad. But what in the hell has just happened there to DJ E Flat? That is the question on my mind. That is a late decision by the safety car. It is in this lap. Reimer now has to suddenly get himself ready to defend here from DWCJ behind. Again, both cars relatively similar, old, hard tires here. Down the pit straight and away they go. Big Man Rye already looking to the inside of Curveball. Those fresh medium tires outbreaking the V-carb to the inside. And he's going to get him. There goes 1. Now potentially 2 and 3 ahead of him here. Big Man Rye, no DRS for the time being, naturally. They'll get that next time by. The Sauber Down the straight they go, heading in towards Dolago here. To the inside. Oh, look at this! Well, I was going to say that I thought that Ferrari was actually in play there. Pontiac Bandit wanted to send it to the inside of Charlie Golf. Maybe now up the hill, round the outside, passing the grass. Look at this, Merc to the inside. 2 by 2, they're stacked up behind. DJ E-Flat typing in the Discord. We'll get to that. DJ E-Flat asking if simulation damage is supposed to be on. I don't know. Unfortunately, I do not have an answer for you at this time. But that's his first thing he said after DNFing. Yeah, I don't really know. King Pro Player, side by side now with curveball around the outside. Not without a little bit of contact there. But again, difficult spot of the track to go side by side with. And he's going to give that spot back. Nicely done, King Pro Player. Hats off for the sportsmanship there. Because I think King Pro Player, very talented driver in his own right. And I've never had to see him move somebody to make a move. Big man Ryan to the inside will get round Reimer, and once again, back to the lead of the Grand Prix. And oh, by the way, he'll have, Reimer will have DRS here, although I don't think Reimer's going to have enough pace on those tires. Oh, we have another yellow flag somewhere along the line. Pontiac Bandit's gone round, this going down the hill through the Senna S's. Cars fanning out. Big man Rye has stayed ahead of Reimer, 3.5 tenths of a second. John the Prince on the late on the brakes onto the inside of Merck, and he'll be able to get that spot up to 7th. Agnote trying to work his way into the proceedings here, as well as our Manson, Charlie Golf, and Curveball side by side, heading in through turn 7. No, sorry, that's turn 8. This is turn 9. And up now, going through turn 10. Coming up closer on 10 laps to go. Big man Rye leads Reimer by 6-7 tenths of a second as they exit Junshao and now make their way back towards the pit straight here. 2 tenths of a second. King Pro Player, he's going to have a look on DWCJ. DRS will be activated for King Pro Player. He'll choose initially the outside as they go past pit entry. He will still choose the outside. DWCJ wanted to send him the long way around, but he's not done it enough to really challenge that Mercedes. Oh, and he's almost gotten into the back of the Mercedes in question. DWCJ, I think, went a little too late on the brakes, nearly plowed through the back end of King Pro Player. But either way, that one is going to stay clean, but a very close call, to say the least. And speaking of close calls, side by side, exiting Curvados Soul as Merck round the outside of John the Prince. He gets one. Could he get Curveball late braking? Curveball's going to float a little bit high, trying to defend the outside. Merck still around the outside. Well, I tell you what, he has, I was going to say temporarily gotten around the V-Carb. He had gone off track to make the move. I think, I don't think he's so much given that spot back, but at least that position was not his, and now he's free to attack again. Behind him also as well, stacking up. He's actually going to get around Curveball there somehow. Stacking up behind him include John the Prince, Agnote, Late Bloomer, R. Manson, the Ferrari of Bongin into the position as well. On the Agnote and John the Prince side by side. John the Prince will stick to the inside through turn 11 in towards Junshao. Let's see, Agnote a little bit later on the brakes. Yeah, he's not going to quite be close enough, but we're going to stay with this battle here because we've got about 4, 5, 6 cars going for the same positions. DRS is going to be activated. It's going to look like NASCAR here. Going down the pit straight, John the Prince gets Curveball. Agnote up next. Could he get Curveball? He's going to choose the outside. To the inside looks Late Bloomer. Into the Senna S's. Manson touches the grass. He's spun away. Side by side, wheel to wheel contact made. Agnote round Curveball. Look at this. Late Bloomer through the middle. Tip of the cap to Late Bloomer. Goodness me, what a move that was. Shot the line and went for broke. Gone straight through. Red Bull and Curveball straight through the middle. Fantastic overtake there. Meanwhile, atop the grid, Big Man Rye is now just eclipsed a 2-second advantage over Reimer. I think Reimer, for the time being, is probably hoping for another safety car, which, with how much these guys behind them are battling, could very well happen. Owa, 3/10 of a second away from Bongit, who's about 1/4 of a second behind from Curveball, heading in towards Junshao. Someone has just clipped the grass there on the outside. Manson, we saw last time by as Charlie Golf and DWCJ side by side. Charlie Golf's going to get around the Alpine in question. It's going to be Curveball into the pit lane here, a little bit further ahead. We had a move there. John the Prince, I think, is outbraked Late Bloomer. Manson getting around Curveball naturally. Oh, into the wall, Zowa! There's the safety car. And I think as he just spun the tires, getting on the throttle, and he's pushed it into the fence there on the inside of the Senna S's. And coming up on 10 laps to go, massive, massive development here. That is such a huge moment in this race, because now you've got guys like Reimer who could very well pit for a set of the mediums here, and I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of those takers. You know, Big Man Rice, 6-lap-old mediums, he'll probably be fine, but Reimer's got to stop. King Pro Player, Charlie Golf, DWCJ Merc, Bong It, they've all probably got to stop here. Let's see what they choose to do. Big Man Rye into the pit lane. Reimer next up behind. He's got to remain under Delta. And finding his way into the pit lane. Hopefully no tenders will be picked up. Oh, that's going to be close. Wow, and you couldn't see that there. I think Charlie Golf's going to get one here. No. Well, I didn't notice it until just late, and I don't think Reimer did either. Somebody took the styrofoam pit lane speed limit board on the way in towards the pit lane there, and Reimer really had to get that car back down, because that one was very close to being a 10-second penalty. Charlie Golf is strangely pit for the intermediates here. Oh, Charlie Golf, are you David Attenborough, or are you just dumb? No offense, but come on now. This is a little bit of a weird one. Intermediate tires. Bongit has... Whoa! Bongit's retired... What?! Bongit has retired on track. The car that was in 3rd place, now, done. He must have hit that wall a ton. A front wheel has been amputated off of that Ferrari. His day is done. We are down to 14 cars. I don't even know if that's true. Sorry, yeah, down to 13. We started with 19. And oh, look at this. We've got several guys putting on intermediates now. Hey, Charlie Golf, I may have accidentally insulted you. Tell you what, you may have been right. This race is going to get absolutely turned on its head if more rain is on the way. And let me tell you, it went from bright and sunny, as you can see over there. You get to this corner of the track, it does look like it could rain here shortly. Safety car, I don't believe, is going to be on its way in this time. There's still 3 cars yet to have caught up to the queue. And yeah, it is getting dark out once again. What a fantastic race this has been. Rain, overtakes, crashes, safety car, more rain. Are you kidding me? As a commentator, the neutral perspective, this is what you love right here. When you genuinely don't know what's going to happen next. Late bloomer into the pit lane. The only thing late on this is, honestly, absolutely nothing. Oh, he's replacing a front wing. Well, we didn't notice that. Intermediate tires on. Well, I'd say a late decision. No, it's actually an early decision here to pit for the intermediate tires, only a couple of which have actually done so. We do have 5 cars now on track on the intermediate tires. Charlie Golf, Pontiac Bandit, Curveball, Bloomer, and Hemphead. Everybody else, barring that of R. Manson, is on the softs. This is a massively interesting end to this Grand Prix. By the way, 10 laps to go at the line this time by. Well, there you go. The rain now falling. And the safety car in this lap. Are we going to see a race to the line? Well, yes we will. The question is which line? Will it be the start-finish line, or will it be the pit lane entry? My guess is the second option. Anyways, Big Man Rye has a big decision here. If he pits, we're assuming Reimer will be in behind, Manson probably following that. Charlie Golf will be the new leader of this Grand Prix. Back underway we go. The top 3 do not pit. Green flag back in the air. DRS has not been disabled yet. The track still registering as dry, but we do have takers for the pit lane. Down the hill into the Senna S's. I'm assuming this or next time by is going to get very slippery here. Charlie Golf to the inside. has some good grip on those intermediates. Of course, the track not really quite wet yet, but he's doing just fine. Heading in towards Dolago, a bit late on the brakes, 0.2 of a second away from our Manson. Oh, Manson's gonna bite the dust here. That's gonna be another safety car. That car immediately lurched sideways, getting off of the outside curb from Dolago. That car found nothing but barriers. It's almost as if there was a magnet on the inside with how quickly and jaggedly that car went off to the side. But anyway, now we're down to 12. And that, let's be honest with you, has absolutely saved Big Man Rye and Reimer here. Well, maybe not. Maybe I could be wrong. Once again, we look at the cars. The majority of the grid is on intermediate tires already. Those 4 guys probably going to migrate to... this is a terrible, terrible another safety car here for Big Man Rye and Reimer. And as well as the pair of the Alpines, because realistically, all 4 of these guys are going to migrate to the back end of the grid. Everybody else already on the intermediate tires. Charlie Golf is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix, as we expected. Cross the line now. Curveball. We've got the Ferrari of somebody. Big Man Rye into the pit lane. Intermediate tires on. Merc is going to be kind of gobbled up in the double stack here. But now the entirety of the grid now on the intermediate tires. Big Man Rye will exit the pit lane in 5th. Reimer will be behind in 6th. Pair of the Alpines 7th and 8th. King Pro Player will be 9th. It'll be 10th for John the Prince, 11th for Agnote, and 12th for Hemphead. Once again, we started with 19. We're down to 12. Everybody now on the intermediate tires. We are within 10 laps to go of this Brazilian Grand Prix. By the way, we head to Monaco next week. if you thought this was carnage, we head to the streets of the Principality. So, the question is now, and I think this is a big question for me personally, is can Charlie Golf actually get himself out to enough of a gap? He does have a 3-second penalty. Let's keep that in mind. He's got a 3-second penalty. The pair of the V-carbs to his immediate surroundings do not. Curveball and Pontiac Bandit could walk away with this one. Could be a 1-2 for the V-carbs. Late Bloomer in 4th does have a 3-second penalty to his name. Big Man Rye in 5th. Reimer 6th. I mean, we are in a position now where genuinely we could have maybe even somebody who's never won a race before. Now I need to do some digging because I have no idea, but that's almost one of those things where it's just like you have to think about. So, let's think of it this way. Back to green flag we will go, most likely at the end of this lap. 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will have 7 laps of racing here. And by the way, we've got several cars in contention for this win. Even these guys with the 3-second penalties, you just don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is this. The safety car will... Oh, what in the hell is this? Several cars missing front wings. Big Man, Riley, Bloomer, what has happened here? Several cars have stacked up behind the McLaren of Charlie Golf. I don't think he's done anything wrong, but these guys have absolutely accordion affected each other under the safety car. I mean, this is just calamity. Utter chaos. Charlie Golf is going to get us back to green flag racing, but we've got 3 cars ducked for the pit lane here. Big name players in this race. Late Bloomer, Big Man, Rye, Hemphead, the other of the 3 cars in. He's got a tenner for speeding to the pit lane. I don't even know what the hell's happening anymore, but we are back under green flag. Well, could that have opened the door for Reimer to take his rightful place at the top spot? I don't know. This is fantastic. Into Curva do Sol they go. It appears Reimer within a 10th and a half of Pontiac Bandit here. Remember, we're at the situation now. I mean, Charlie Golf in the lead, 0.8 of a second over Curveball. Charlie Golf, for the time being, with his penalty, would drop down to 5th. That would make it Curveball taking the win. Pontiac Bandit potentially 2nd or 3rd. Reimer in the fray. The 2 Alpines side by side now. Oh, goodness me. I mean, we've seen so much carnage. Merc actually saving the car quite nicely there, but that car got way out of shape going on the curb on the inside. 0.2 of a second away. Reimer to the back end of Pontiac Bandit. They got to be careful on acceleration here. That is my biggest concern, is that if you're following close in behind somebody and they have just the slightest little bit of wheel spin, you both can end up in the trash heap. Reimer to the inside of Pontiac Bandit. And he's going to get him before the braking zone, but will it be able to stay that way? Next time by at the line will be 5 laps to go in what has been a very chaotic yet simultaneously entertaining Brazilian Grand Prix. DWCJ is going to have a look to the inside of Pontiac Bandit. Now up for the 4th spot. Side by side they go, wheel to wheel into Curva do Sol. Little bit of wiggle on the back end for DWCJ, but he's going to hold on. And King Pro Player asserts himself to the inside once. Can he do it twice past DWCJ? Not quite. Maybe not yet, at least. King Pro Player getting himself into the mix for what is really the first time today. Charlie Golf, by the way, has a 2.5 advantage over Curveball. Curveball still doing well, could still realistically win this Grand Prix, but cue the Jaws music now. Reimer lurking in behind. Merc to the inside, or actually around the outside of Pontiac Bandit, side by side. No contact there. Merc may have felt that Pontiac squeezed him off track, but no contact was made. Back on the throttle they go at the line this time. 5 laps to go. 0.3 of a second on Yote to the back end of Merc. Let's see what happens here. Pontiac Bandit looking forward on John the Prince. He's not going to get close enough. King Pro Player to the back end of DWCJ through the Senna S's. Merc and Pontiac Bandit side by side. Merc's going to fall back. Pontiac Bandit up to 7th. And oh, look at this. Curveball is actually closing in on Charlie Golf. That gap was about a 1.5 seconds not too long ago. It's now, well, I was going to say less than a second. It was temporarily. Side by side, DWCJ, King Pro Player, and King Pro Player up to 4th. But look at this. The battle for what will be the win of this Grand Prix. Reimer, who else, battling Curveball. I mean, goodness me, we could have been looking at a situation where we would have had Curveball potentially win a Grand Prix. Pontiac Bandit was in that mix as well. Charlie Golf, I mean, still could technically do it, but that's a lot of gap to put behind to the 2 of the quickest cars on track in your immediate surroundings. But Curveball is going to defend the hell out of Reimer here, knowing that this is Curveball's opportunity to win. He's not going to have DRS. The only thing it's going to mean is, keeping consistent in energy store. Both cars, actually Curveball not even using it here. Reimer's going to try to peek around the outside, heading down the pit straight into the Senna S's. Once again, could be for the win of the Grand Prix. Reimer around the outside, and he's got the position over Curveball. And by the way, Reimer, we still also think on at least 1 or 2 warnings. A penalty is not out of the question for the Mercedes. 1.5, 0.2 at most. Curveball back to Reimer. Big slide for Curveball. He's going to hold on to it only just. Anyote, 2.5 of a second behind Merc. Not quite. Big slide. We have a yellow flag. Late Bloomer has spun in the pit lane and has retired on track. So now it's about a second, less than a second between Charlie Golf and Reimer. The battle for what could be the win of the Grand Prix. Again, if Reimer picks up a penalty, it's all to play for, and we think he's at least on 1 or 2 warnings here. Going through Jun Chao. At the line this time, 3 laps to go. Curveball in the mix as well. Oh, big slide for curveball. Well, I tell you what, I thought he lost the car there. Tell you what, it appears Charlie Golf is actually pulling Reimer on the straights here. He's gained about 0.2 of a second alone just down on the pit straight, but I think as they go through the corners, that's where Reimer is going to excel, as he always does. Reimer, again, one of those drivers likes downforce and, will oftentimes choose cornering and responsiveness over straight line speed. Down the straight they go. King Pro Player to the inside. He's going to have to outbrake curveball here. But it looks like he's going to be able to way late on the brakes. Curveball, I think, taking more of a defensive route there. But either way, King Pro Player to third, at least for the time being. Reimer a second behind Charlie Golf. Reimer's got to keep it within the white lines here, and he will almost certainly win the Grand Prix. Charlie Golf, quick driver as he is not pulling Reimer here. He's not putting the 3 seconds necessary. He's only got 2.5 laps to do just that. Charlie Golf's either got to hope for a mistake from Reimer. He's got three options. He's either got to hope for a mistake from Reimer, he's got to put down some incredible laps, or he's got to hope for a penalty for Reimer. Half a second now. .6 of a second. Reimer following in behind. No DRS naturally, but within a second. Into the Senna S's. 2 laps to go. We'll check back with those two in a minute. We've got Merc and Pontiac Bandit now. See if Merc tries one. Potentially around the outside. Not quite. Heading in towards Dolago they go. Reimer behind by 0.4 of a second. King Pro Player is just not in the mix for the time being. Half a second and a half behind his teammate. 0.2. Reimer on the back end of Charlie Golf. He's going to try to send this one. Well, I thought he was going to. I was about to say, Reimer does not need to try as hard for right now. He just needs to keep the car on track. Trying the outside of Charlie Golf. He'll take back to the, he'll tuck in behind the McLaren for the time being. Got a lap and a half remaining of the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Through Biga de Pato, the Duck's Beak corner. Bit of a slide there from Charlie Golf. That has hindered Reimer. That one was nearly bad. That has allowed King Pro Player into the mix. Well, we do know this. Charlie Golf and King Pro Player will be battling for position here. Reimer, it seems increasingly likely it will be him winning the Grand Prix, but we have 1 lap remaining. Final lap of the Grand Prix. Reimer is going to have a peek to the inside. Better not touch that grass. That's how Manson went off earlier. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's front wing missing. That's not going to be helpful. Only the slightest of contact to the back end of Charlie Golf. But Reimer now missing front wing. That is going to hurt braking performance and cornering. Not what he needed. If Reimer picks up a 3-second... Oh, and he's done it again! Reimer's missing both end plates! This is going terribly wrong! Reimer's got to keep it between the white lines. That is his job. If he does that, he wins the Grand Prix. If not, Charlie Golf has a one-way ticket to the top step of the podium. Only a couple of corners left. Reimer could still make the mistake. Charlie Golf could, somehow pull away with this one. Reimer, all he's got to do is drive cleanly and not go outside of the white lines. This is it. Oh, Reimer's going off big time. King Pro Player in position now. King Pro Player will slide. Reimer behind. I think Reimer will probably still take it. But going down the pit straight now, Charlie Golf. He's going to cross the line first in big ups. It's a great day for Charlie Golf. He'll finish ahead of King Pro Player, but Reimer, after all of that, Reimer wins. Oh, goodness me, what a fantastic race that was. Well, friends, by the way, next week is Monaco. Streets of the Principality next week, round 7 of the CCRL Elite/Wednesday tier. For Hotspot, it has been a pleasure joining me once again, and goodness me, that was hilariously fun. We'll see you next time.